It is Saturday night once again. This is the overnight mouse party. I'm DM Foss, and so far we have Gizzard Gary. How's it going, Gary? How you doing tonight?
I should
You're
unmute.
muted there.
Yes. Going pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Uh, yeah. So we'll see if anybody else joins us. Let me get the banner going while I'm thinking about it.
If they dare.
At the bottom of the screen is email address on tacticalfoss@gmail.com and a link for the Discord server. Place to hang out, chit chat, share pictures, memes, and stuff like that. You can always get a hold of me there, and pretty much anybody else that comes on the chat, you can get a hold of them through the Discord. Except Moo. He refuses to join the Discord. He's the outlier.
Yeah, I see how he is.
But pinned at the top of the chat is a link for the poll. If you haven't voted in the poll, head over there and we'll take a look at that here in just a little bit. So on and so on and so forth. So what's new with you, Gary?
Well, got about a week until a week from today I'll be in Las Vegas. So this is time to pack for SHOT Show and stuff like that. So that's what's going on. I went and saw my kids and my granddaughter today. So made my weekend good. So that's about what's going on with me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Not much going on with me. I'm pretty boring. Oh, I will say I am changing PO boxes. So I put the new PO box. It's in on the community tab where it's got all the links and stuff like that.
Oh.
Just the old one will still be good through end of March, I think, is when I have to renew it, and then I'll cancel it. So I wanted a few months just so there's a transition period because every now and again somebody will send me something, and so I don't know. I felt kind of weird about putting it on the contact page. It's like, send me stuff. Here's where to send me stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm not. It's not why I'm putting it there. I hate to have somebody send me something and then have them spend money to send me something just to have it sent back to them.
Yeah.
I would feel kind of bad.
Want to update my stored address based on that. I might send you something just to see if it works.
Oh,
I never had a P.O. box for you. I had a street address.
Well, you can still use that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I first started the channel, well, when I did the first couple giveaways, and I was just a teeny tiny little channel that I didn't think anybody would watch. And so when I sent out stuff for giveaways, I didn't have a PO box because I figured it doesn't really matter. Not a lot of people are gonna see it. Don't have to worry about it. Then, I would get just a little bit bigger, and I think, well, that's going to be it. Nobody else is going to subscribe to this, and just a little bit bigger. And so I came to the point where it's, well, I probably should just get a PO box and then run all the YouTube stuff through that. But I had it at the UPS store, and they're a little more expensive than the post office. So I finally switched to the post office. G Webs, how's it going? If you're talking, I'm not hearing you.
Hello, G-Webs.
I was doing my icon thing.
There he is.
I mailed out some stuff for you, G Webs, that you should get Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, thanks.
Sent you out some of the
Stack.
last. What was that?
Stacks of cash, crisp $100 bills.
No, stickers.
Same thing. It's just as good.
So some of those are the last batches of ones that I did that I wasn't sure if I had sent you or not. And then some of those are exclusive to you only. Well, I have one of each just so I have a copy of each. But they're special stickers I made just for you.
Right on. Thanks.
I didn't send you any of these ones. I don't know if you would want these at all. I can maybe let me make myself bigger. Oop. The more you know, and then as you kind of turn it, then you kind of reveals it says, and now you know you're a jerk. I don't know if you would want some of these. They were out here, so I didn't, when I was boxing up the stuff, I kind of forgot about them. If you want some, I can send you some next time I send you something.
Yeah, right on. I'd make that into a bumper sticker. You could leave that on people's vehicle as a thank you. Poorly.
So Colorado has a really bad bill up for it's being proposed. Bill 25.03, which would ban all semi-automatic weapons with detachable magazines. So rifles and handguns.
So tube-fed magazines are okay?
I'm guessing so, but I haven't read the bill. And the Senate, is he senator or representative? I don't know. Looks like senator. So the state senator that is pushing this bill said, reading comments, that I'm not sure where in here is, but we're not banning any type of firearm. They're still going to be able to buy all the same kinds of firearms that they were able to buy before. Just that if it takes a magazine, the magazine will be attached, and the magazine can only be 15 rounds. So you can still buy the same guns, but they have to be redesigned so they're not removable magazines. I guess they'll have to re-engineer somehow the handguns to use stripper clips so you can load your...
Now, this is proposed legislation, or this is
Yes,
passed?
Yes.
No, it's proposed for their next session.
It was just the beginning of the year what they came out with.
I was going to say the people in our state propose all kinds of silly bills, but most of them never make it out of committee.
Colorado is mixed politically, so they're vulnerable. And they have, I was thinking about going to look it up. I guess I could go to Minuteman, but they have a $12 million a year organization that keeps the other organizations out, that doesn't do anything to stop this from happening in Colorado. Obviously, this is the second time. Is this in so many years? Yeah, this is just last year that they had to deal with this. So this is like a yearly thing for Colorado now. And because they have National Association for Gun Rights, NAGR, in the state that brings in $12 million, Gun Owners America and everybody else is like, yeah, you got your own $12 million organization, deal with it. And they watch Colorado get abused like this over and over.
And for Washington,
Maybe the
I,
anti that situation, and they're abusing it, bending them over.
again, I haven't read these bills. I don't know. I just didn't want to make myself sad. But so there's a bill, purchase permit, which they pushed last year, and they're pushing again this year. So you have to have a background check in order to have the background check, which I've already had 2 background checks because I have a concealed carry, and so and there's a bill dealing with sensitive places. It's going to expand that, parks and the county fairs, and in the wording talks about anywhere that children may be present, something like that. Restricting bulk weapons purchases, which again, I haven't read these bills actually, so I'm not sure all the details. There's going after the FFLs again, so adding more restrictions to them. There's one outlining requirements for dealer licensing. And there was I don't know. I know there was talk about tax on ammunition. I think there's a bill for that one, and a bill that would mandate the state patrol to destroy confiscated firearms, where as of right now they'll sell them, but there's a bill to stop the state patrol from selling those and requiring them to destroy them. And there was a couple. Now I forgot. I didn't look these up. I forgot to look them up when I came out here. That were kind of a positive, but I don't recall exactly what those were. So I am ill prepared. So I'm just looking real quick, see if I missed anything for Washington. Which I probably did, but I think I got the main ones. So the bill expanding sensitive places might just apply to open carry, it looks like.
So I just opened up my thing. I did the numbers last year, and the numbers are behind because I'm doing tax numbers. So the public tax records are 2 years behind usually. So last year in 2024, I was able to get the records from 2022. So that added to the thing I did earlier, maybe 2 years earlier. So national NRA is down from 366 is the most they ever made, and that was in 2017, 366 million. They're down to 211 million. To put it into reference, that's the NRA. That's the largest organization. In 2022, they made $200 million from members and stuff. Gun Owners of America is down from a total of 8,600,000 to 6,000,007. So they didn't even, or 6,000,009. They didn't even make $7 million. Gun Owners of America, and look at all they do, right? Second Amendment Foundation, $7 million to the Second Amendment Foundation, and then there's probably another pile that goes to the CRKR, the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, which does the Gun Rights Policy Conference, and that'll usually be to the tune of another 3 or 4 million. So Second Amendment Foundation might have brought in altogether maybe $10 million. So maybe just a little bit more than GOA. And that's the most Second Amendment Foundation has ever made. They've never made more than that. Then you get NAGR, National Association for Gun Rights, made a maximum of 16 million in 2021, down to 11 million. So that's an organization in Colorado made $11 million in 22, $16 million in 21, $10 million in 20, $7 million in 19, $7 million in 18, more than $7 million in 17, $10 million in 16, $10.5 in 15, $13 in 14, and 17 in 13. So there, when I talk about organizations that come out of nowhere and pile in millions of dollars and then disappear when we're not under attack and then come back when we're under attack, in 2013, they went from $7 million in 12 to $17 million in 13. They made an extra $10 million that year. And what have you ever heard about the National Association for Gun Rights? Tell me what they've heard about them besides sponsoring Such and Military Arms Channel. And now, what's his face? Guns and Gear, or Guns and Gadgets, I guess. And then somebody else was, I deleted my account from somebody else who was sponsored by him recently. So aside from hiring a YouTuber once in a while to create their validity, that organization has brought in $11 million in Colorado alone, and they don't touch any other state. I guess they technically touched Massachusetts a little bit, so they've got allies in Massachusetts now. But by just doing some stuff in Massachusetts, they brought in another $11 million. And what does that do for Colorado? It means that Gun Owners of America and Second Amendment Foundation, who say they don't do shit except worry about our rights, they don't do shit in Colorado. And you can see it happen last year. They didn't do shit in Colorado. They're not going to do shit in Colorado this year because they got $11 million being poured into that state. And unfortunately, I think it's the same thing for you. You've got $10 million being poured into Washington with Second Amendment Foundation and Citizens Committee, and the JPFO are all being run by Second Amendment Foundation. And all the other organizations are like, well, they should be able to handle Washington. I mean, do you ever see Gun Owners of America step foot in there? They don't put a toe in that state. And NRA, I think they've been there before. But
The
they're just
NRA seems just kind of come in and then will get their name out there. Was, well, we filed also.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all they do. They come along and they allow the state level organizations to do stuff, and then they help. But they can't, the NRA is not the one to look to solve all our problems. All they can do is come in at the end, and when something's successful, throw money at it and point at it. But at least they'll do that. Like, what has GOA done for Washington State? What has it done for Colorado? They're no compromise unless there's a multi-million-dollar organization in that state, and then they let them hang there with that multinational organization to do the stuff, which they have to. I mean, what do you expect, GOA? They make less money than Second Amendment Foundation, and now they have their own event. The NSSF exists just to have SHOT Show almost. I mean, as far as their finances, and then NRA. It takes NRA to have a show, but then now GOA is going to have a show, and they don't even make $10 million a year. I mean, they haven't yet.
I
So that's what I don't like about legal cases is anybody can throw $35 as support and then sit on a lie detector and say, yeah, I helped out XYZ. I helped out XYZ. But when you bring in $10 million and you help out to the tune of $100,000 and your marketing, if you look at their tax records, they'll tell you who their marketing companies are and how much they spend. Niagara spends the most out of anybody, and they are their own advertising company. So all that money goes into them, or else it goes into them to their other pocket. But all they do in response is memes, and a lot of times their memes are just memes that are going around that they add a logo to. So they grab existing memes that nobody can claim and then put their logo on it, or don't even bother. They just put their logo on it. But anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't feel obligated to throw that out once in a while because we all sit around going, I wonder how come these states are getting wailed on. And it's because these national organizations, I don't want to say they're playing games. They're just spending their money where they can. And why would you spend any money in Colorado when there's $10 million being pumped into Colorado almost every year, if not more?
let me go back and say hello to everybody. So far, Sergeant Joe Smith, Vulcan Rumble is here. Gizzard Gary, Telos. Good evening. Good evening. And Zudak. Zudak said, "Isn't Nagar the one that says they support legal cases?" Oh, sorry.
That's what I was trying to address right there. That
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but again, they don't throw $10 million at nothing. I mean, if they do, that's the least effective use of $10 million I've ever seen. All right, I'm off my.
Well, I hadn't heard of them until a few years ago.
You don't hear about them. The first I heard about them was in 12 when they all of a sudden supported Such and Military Arms Channel. And if you remember, I don't know if you're watching YouTube back then, those guys had a lock on everything. And they'd go around saying Nagar, Nagar, Nagar. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who names their organization Nagar? And I went and looked and asked around a little bit. And even then, I wasn't necessarily an activist hanging around with circles. I just knew people to ask. And I asked them, they're like, oh, they're a joke. They're a fraud. So that's what I started out thinking. And then as I became more tuned into this stuff, I'm like, look who never shows up at any event ever. Look who doesn't do shit until 2013. And all of a sudden they grew to this massive financial situation. But
that's probably why I never heard of them, because I don't watch Such or.
oh no, it's all Dudley.
Mac
saying he looked it up, and the leadership it's all Dudley. It's one guy, and he just figured out that I forgot where he comes from. I remember somebody did an expose on him where he comes from. He's not like a used car salesman, but he's that type, or a Amway or something. So he came along, figured out guns, and started kind of milking the everybody until 13 when he cashed in again, $17 million in 13, up from 7 the year before. So once he figured that out, he reinvested it, doubled down into what he was doing, and we won't see anything in Colorado change because he actually is the epitome of, or that organization is the epitome of, they exist to play ping pong with the legal, with the representatives who are dumb and they're not trying to educate. None of them. All the national level organizations, none of them want to educate. The only one that wants to educate is what used to be. Now they're called Women for Gun Rights. What were they called originally? DC Project. Their goal was to educate representatives and tag with them and let them know what the deal was. None of the national level organizations bringing in this tens of millions of dollars can afford $1 million to do that. You'd think they could peel off one of their tens of millions of dollars to educate legislatures, representatives. But anyway, I told you I was going to get off of this.
So Woods is out there, and Baron SVG. Good evening. Telos. FPC shows up for lawsuits, but that's become kind of our mainline defense anymore.
There's debate on that, but they went from $1 million organization up until 20 or 19, and then boom, 6 million, 5 million. They make $5 million a year now, which is change compared to everybody else, but it's 5 times more than what they were doing. There's only like 5 people in FPC, and there's some people that have left FPC that claim that FPC is just a marketing organization that hasn't done shit. I don't know where to put it, but they talk a good game, right? They say stuff, but I think they're there. They exist in order to support other organizations who have the financial ability to start things. They help, but they're also I would say, like a legal focused organization from the get go. They started with lawyers, and they're only lawyers, whereas the other organizations claim to be more, and they bring in 5 times the money.
And Telos had mentioned the Supreme Court, the SCOTUS, not taking up any Second Amendment cases so far. And Four Boxes Diner was talking about that. He put out 2 videos today saying where he would kind of rate it anywhere from bad to neutral. So they haven't taken it, but they haven't rejected them. So it's just kind of sit and wait, see if they do take them. And it's as frustrating as it is. You have to remember that the Supreme Court is not the Second Amendment Supreme Court. They cover the entire Constitution. And so, out of the thousands of requests they get, they only take like 90. So the majority of cases aren't going to be heard.
And if you look at it on a timeline, it was 170 years that they didn't even touch guns, and then they touched guns once, and then it was 60 years later they touched guns again, and now they're touching them more often, but it's in the overall lay of the land, like they don't really touch guns very much at all. We'd kind of rather them never touch guns, but now all of a sudden we're depending on them, so we're just getting, and all the new gun owners and stuff that are paying attention recently are like kind of, what's the word, like we're accustomed to the Supreme Court like doing stuff for us every once in a while, and that's like super unusual. It's just super unusual.
I agree. That's if you want to consider it this, they're the safety net, but that's not where the push should be. Push should be in education, so it doesn't have to get that far. But it's kind of the tough part.
There are other tactics for sure. And although we weren't 100% successful on them, we've been successful without having to take things to the Supreme Court, or, the Supreme Court isn't the final verdict on everything we do as far as a community or whatever we are.
Vulcan Rebel said there does seem to be an organized attempt to destroy the rights of the United States people inside the Democratic Party. They're doubling down, not backing off. I need to change that. I have it set so when I click on a comment, it'll automatically take it down. So, if I forget, it'll do it itself. But I think I have it set too short.
Do you have a way to tag comments that you haven't highlighted yet, like we do in StreamYard?
You can't. Yeah, there is a star system.
All right, then I might change to this one because I'm getting fed up with the one I'm using, and I was going to ask you if it's got that. Then I might pay for a month or 2 of this and see how it works. I do not like the Labs one that I'm using. It's clunky and it's got a lot of knobs, but those knobs don't do anything I care about.
Overall, I'm happy with the EV Mux. There's still I still I'm still getting the transitioning. You know, I'm
Yeah, and I don't
So
like the
you,
Chrome part. It has to use Chrome, which is super stupid. But um, also, Tony can't hardly get into my room whenever I send him links. I don't know if anybody else is using the stream links. What am I using? Whenever I'm using
Streamlab.
Labs, it's I guess a real pain in the ass for people on phones. It like times out, and you have to constantly be fiddling with your phone in order to keep staying in the room and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, when I was um, Rogue Banshee did a test stream using the EV Mux, and I kind of liked the way it looked, so I checked it out, and yeah, so far I'm happy. It does a lot of stuff that I don't need, just because it's set up more to where I think it was originally designed more towards seminars and presentations.
Oh, like bringing
But
stuff onto the screen kind of stuff.
yeah, and
Then we got
but
pinned.
now they're pushing to get into the streaming, because I see a lot of ads on Instagram for the EV Mux, and they're talking about streaming.
Well, they probably went, "Yay, fucking dumbass Streamyard charged $80 a month, so now we can charge anything we want, and it'll look like bargain compared to their $80 a month or whatever they're charging."
Um, and
And this is like 14 a month.
I think that's about where I had found a discount code, so I think that's where I ended up, was about $14 a month. And then I just paid the year. It's because I paid a year and had the discount. It worked out to, I think, about $14 a month.
Oh, and the listening off stage is kind of cool.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of features that I haven't used yet, or don't quite know how to use, but
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't have a giveaway tool though.
it does. It's got, you can do polls. The StreamYard poll, or I guess you can still, yeah, okay. It does have a giveaway poll where like the StreamYard, and you can do polls. It's a little clunky. Yeah. But I can still go in, because I've got my YouTube studio, so I could go in there and do polls that way too. But this way, the kind of nice thing about using the EV Mux one is when you do it through YouTube, they don't show up in replay. But this is a part of the chat, so everybody would be able to see it later. And for the Washington bills, there is one bill to House Bill 1118 would restore convicted criminals' rights to possess firearms. I'm not sure. I think it's not all, but some. So, according to the proposal, individuals convicted of felony sex offenses, Class A felonies with maximum sentences of at least 20 years, would remain unable. So, it would expand who can get their rights back, but not all convicted felons could get their rights back. But I think that would be a move in a positive direction. just looking through. Yeah, all right. Oh, so Gary was talking about SHOT Show. You're going to SHOT Show again, G-Webs?
Kinda. I'll probably drive up there for a day or two. I'm not going to spend the whole time up there. I don't think. Can't. I don't really want to spend the money on it. I don't have any, except for the people I know going. There's nobody from Arizona going this year, so I don't have anybody on my team. So I'm just gonna do it on the minimum. I'm thinking I'll drive up, be there Monday for the shoot, and maybe Tuesday, and then come back.
Oh, so yeah, really short.
I find a hotel. Yeah, I'm gonna just stay in the van, just stay overnight type of thing, or I guess stay overnight a few nights and then come back.
Oh, so let's take a look at. Let me refresh that here, and then we'll take a look at the poll real quick. That one there, there. Oop, and then I have to add it. So this week's poll was, how do you feel about politics? Let me make sure I've got news first. There we go. So it was, it's the will of the people. It's the will of those who can pay. It's a necessary evil, or it's a monster that devours rights and privileges. And 78% said it's a monster. 9% said it's the will of the people. 7% said it's the will of those who can pay, and 6% said it's a necessary evil. Looking at the comments, Two-Way Chef and Barbecue. Politics is not a problem. It's the opinions of varying intellects. Politicians are the problem. They can afford luxury of playing the political game at the demise of those that they are supposed to represent, but instead they use it to harm most while enriching themselves. Wolfram Land said, I'm so tired of hearing about it. It's all beyond my control, and none of it affects me directly. Christ ought to be our ultimate concern, not worldly forces. Minnie Wayne said, me for president. The goddamn bacon said, alternative question, how do you feel about cancer? Or as my term goes, retardism. Don't poke the bear, it ruins everything. Should be an opinion, an option. George Grayson Cat said, I can't vote, so I no cares, stupid humans. Night Strikes Pizza, it's fine as long as I get my piece of the pie. And Wesley Foster said, is here. Yeah, I think when I was trying to think of a question, I think I was just kind of in a bad mood. So I came up with that one.
I don't have a problem with politics or whatever you want to call like the political system, I guess, because we got to have some way to work with each other, and we don't want a king, and we don't want whatever Trudeau was. So as far as our system goes, it's slow and it doesn't allow anybody to actually manipulate it, although people will act like it gets manipulated all the time. It's just that it doesn't always work out for anybody specifically, right? It works out for different people all the time, and how much effort you put into it and all that kind of stuff. So I voted that's the will of the people. A lot of people, every time they lose, they want to act like the other side cheated or something, but there's a shit ton of people, and the will of a bunch of them is not going to be on your like list all the time, right? Sometimes it's on your list, sometimes it's on their list, but I think it's a system that's served past 2 world wars that changed political landscape across the world more than once, and then a civil war in our own country more than, well, the one time officially, and then lots of issues that have come up that would crush other stupid countries. And we don't all have to love each other, and because of that, and we don't all like blindly follow anybody. So because of that, it's not going to be perfect. Like, we're all not going to stand around like ants and never run into each other. We're going to have some issues. I think those issues or whatever, those problems are worth it for the good stuff that we have. And the people that want us to be fighting with each other and want us to be worried about the distractions that they've invented, they're going to make it seem like the only thing that matters is politics and we should spend all our time worrying about it. But whoever had that, was it the first one, said something like, none of this really affects us individually, like on our most part, except for when y'all get hit with gun laws, of course. But most of the time, this stuff doesn't affect us individually. It just sort of pushes the ball one way or the other, and you can watch every little movement of the ball, or you can live a healthy, fun life with people and, give this stuff the attention that it's worth. And when you give it the attention that it's worth, I think it's one of the better systems that the humans have come up with so far. But I
I
know that's
would I would say it's the best system.
yes,
Imperfect, but so far it's the best.
it's imperfect to everybody equally, and then also, you know what I mean? Like, it's easy to say
Yeah.
that rich people win, but if rich people won, we'd all be, we'd be a whole different situation. They win sometimes for sure, but the lights can get shined on them, and they ultimately will pay consequences for it. Maybe not as fast as we all like all the time.
Well, I will say that the rich have an easier access to influence. I guess I would put it that way.
Well, that's going to be true anywhere. I went with the minority on this. I said it's a necessary evil. I mean, politics can be an ugly game, but it's kind of the byproduct of the governing system we have in this country. We have to play the game. The game has to exist. So, but at least there is a game. Whereas in a monarchy or something like that, politics is basically moot. You know, so it's necessary in order to carry out this system that we have here. It's not always pretty. Somebody's always going to come out on the winning end, the losing end, and stuff like that. But it's a balance that's we've kind of teetered on this edge for well over 200, close to 250 years now, folks. So it evidently works.
And think of all the changes in the planet and just as technological and everything else in that time. So pretty good system. We have unscrupulous people, but there's nothing stopping us from changing that. I think we've got the potential to see a real change. I think for the good, but we'll find out, right? With this next administration that's about to happen in a few days. At least they talked a good game about it, slimming down the government and that kind of thing.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
As far as the people that we put in power, that's on us as voters. It totally is. All the way down from the root, all the way up to the top. So.
Let me go up. Woods said it keeps everyone tribal. Red versus blue are broken. And Sergeant Joe Smith said people with no skin in the game should have no say. Do like corporations, one share, one vote. You get a vote for every 1K. I don't think I would go for that.
No.
And Zudak said, I think it's great you guys can stay positive about the process. It seems to me like every time we get one step forward with two-way rights, we get moved 2 steps back in some other area. I do get a little down sometimes about that stuff, but you have to remember just what 2 years ago, a year ago, that big push where now more than half the states have constitutional carry. Um,
29, like actually quite a bit more.
yeah, for me, it's easy. It's easy to get down because in the state I live in, there's lots of there's a huge push for with anti-gun laws. But it's not indicative of all states. Um, so I see what's immediately around me, but I have to remember that that's what's here. That's not what's everywhere. Um, so
And
it's tough
as long as
sometimes.
states have these rights, you're going to have that. So
Yeah, I for me, I will. Sometimes I'll see a headline come up about something, anti-gun bill or whatever, and I won't look at it for a while. That's why I haven't really looked into these bills. There's some days I just don't. I just can't. Um, I I'm just punishing myself. It's stuff that I think I need to know so I can understand what's coming, but I don't want to dwell in it because like I said, I'm just kind of punishing myself, and it's not
I grew up in a
beneficial.
state. I grew up in a state that gets bullied by anti-gun bullshit, and then left as soon as I freaking could, and then grew up, lived in other states that didn't have it. So I've lived in both for sure. So I can understand. I mean, obviously, I had the choice, so I chose to move to a state that didn't. At least until who knows what's going to happen in Arizona with the outgrowing or with all the California people leaving and whatnot. But you're dealing with the same thing up there as we are. California's leaching out tons of people because they're, for whatever reasons, they left California and then they started doing their same thing in these other states. But I was agree with you that where you are, Massachusetts for sure, New Jersey. Talk to Tony all the time, and then the states like Connecticut and imagine Rhode Island, probably Maine to some extent. Like some of these other states really get wailed on. You gotta obviously you're not but there's 50 states, but you are definitely living the bullshit part of it. But the other side of it is I just can't agree with the two steps back. We're actually doing really, really good. At least again, just in the time I've been paying attention on the internet, like not my whole life, but just the last 20 years, I guess. We've gone from, I mean, we were having conversations online and people would have never conceded that Illinois could ever have concealed carry. Like that was never going to happen. There was other states that, were never concealed carry historically. And we thought that would be tough, like Wisconsin and stuff. Every single state went to concealed carry. And really, without a lot of fight, there was some fight for Illinois. But that was in like 2000 and, am I saying right, 14 or 16 or something? It was like forever ago, it seems like. And then we started the push for constitutional carry. So concealed carry is just being able to carry with a permit inside your pocket or inside your belt line with a coat over it. That's commonplace now. And that was unheard of when I was growing up. Like me and Gary's whole life, so your life too, I guess, was like, to carry a gun around, you had to be a cop, period. Like police, or I mean, regular police carried a gun outside, a detective could carry it inside, and nobody else, nobody in the military, no politicians, nobody really carried guns. And if they did, it was like an unusual thing and they were a wild card. And now it's commonplace. What are you going to put on your belt and your wallet and your keys and your gun and your flashlight and your knife? Like it's just a commonplace thing. So we've lived through a lot of changes, and that's not just changes in the law. That's changes in people's mindsets. That again, I get so frustrated at this national level organizations because we don't bring this up enough. That like we've changed our mindsets on guns as a nation, and we just don't point at it enough and focus on it. We let the negative stuff come to the light way too often. So it's not that I'm optimistic. I think I'm just realistic. I don't really think I'm optimistic. I'm not delusional that I think people are going to change and become hippies or whatever. Like, because if they were true hippies, they wouldn't give a shit if we had guns. They're definitely not hippies. So I think that these people that act like they're so open-minded and shit are about some of the most closed-minded people on the planet. And they're scared of guns, which is a horrible combination. I don't think they're going to change, but I think that we can change laws in spite of them. And once they live and exist for any amount of time under those laws, all their arguments become non-issues because they're scared of shit that doesn't happen with gun owners.
I would say that with speaking politically, it's almost more that they're not scared of guns; it's they're paid to be scared of guns.
I
Well,
wouldn't argue with that. Not all of them,
right.
at least. You're right. I know there are some that are just really, really scared of guns, and I don't want to. You know what I mean? I know that's a tough issue. Like if you're scared of spiders, nobody's should make you have to have a spider, or maybe even if you're super scared of spiders, it might be annoying to have somebody walk around with like a spider shirt. But at the same time, it's a spider shirt. Get over it. You can't tell somebody else what to do.
But much along the same line, I didn't come into this 2A game until recently. You know, I joined Gun Channels in 2017, pretty much ever since then. But it's been a battle, but I've seen progress. I've seen lots of progress, and yes, there's plenty of progress left to be made. I agree, but it's not that we aren't getting anywhere. We are getting somewhere, like G Webb said. Uh, but the the battle goes on. That's why we do what we do. That's why we discuss 2A topics continue, even though, you know, in some of our states we've got our rights way more than we had even when I started. But there's plenty of work to be done. We're all across the country. We're all over the world as far as that goes, as far as a community. So we've got plenty to talk about, plenty of pushing to do, plenty of things to discuss. So yeah, it's not a winless battle at all. I don't think so.
It's like working out, right? As you're saying that, I'm thinking of something like somebody trying to get somebody to be encouraged to get in shape, and you're not going to go to the gym and work out twice, or with a lot of gusto 3 or 4 times and become in shape, right? It takes a lot of workouts over a long time. And then once you've got those muscles, it's a little bit easier to go to the gym. You've already, the procedures, you know what the gym is all about. You got friends at the gym. Gym might not be your life. It might be your life for a while you're cutting down weight or trying to get, something worked on. But for the most part, you can skip a day once in a while. But, as long as you're consistently going to the gym, you stay in shape. And with gun ownership, a lot of us just took it for granted. Well, all of us really took it for granted for a long time because we had the NRA, and anybody could say whatever they want. But I've lived, decades and decades, and nobody gave a shit because nobody was really attacking us all that bad. They attacked us in '94. They got their asses handed to them, and they didn't touch us again until 2013. It's like a shit ton of time that they didn't do nothing to us, and we just all enjoyed having them leave us alone. And growing up, they only barely attacked us, and that was for money, and we did a pretty good job of defending ourselves. And anyway, yeah, I think that I don't know where I'm going. I think that we're in a long game, and I guess I was saying about exercising. We're in a long game, and if we can't figure out that we just have to have this muscle, the same way that we carry, all of a sudden now we're concealed carries. That wasn't even a thing. When was it be really a thing? 2005 maybe. Enough of the country started concealed carrying that we started having a national discussion about holsters and how to carry and CCW classes and what's appropriate and this and that. And then by about 15, it was commonplace. So, how many people say go shoot once and you're good to go? Like go shoot a gun until you can hit the bullseye and then you're done. We all say, oh, it's a perishable skill. You should go back and practice. Depending on who you talk to, you're going to practice often or occasionally or regularly, but everybody's going to have some recipe on how often you practice so that you keep your perishable skill. Well, why would we think that our political skills are any different? Like we're just going to become really good at politics and defend ourselves and then go back to ignoring it completely for years? No, we now know that the antis are coming at us over and over and over, and we don't have any one organization that can fix it for us. So it just stands to reason that we should be looking at it like anything, like exercise, or I guess like cleaning a gun. You don't just clean a gun once and it's clean forever. You know that you're going to be cleaning it pretty much every once in a while or every time you go to the range. And if we got used to that political part of being a gun owner, just being a part of a gun owner, which we could easily do, just like we've learned gun safety and we've learned carries, and now we've incorporated red dots and stupid shit like that into our lights, and red dots and lasers all have either come or gone or become part of our lexicon. We just have to get it to where this legal part is part of our lexicon. We've got that muscle, right? We've had the muscle. It's just that we don't keep that muscle. But once we've got that muscle and we keep it, like we're invincible. Like they're never going to even bother coming after us once they know that we can and do defend ourselves every time. It's just like a bully. We're being bullied, and like anybody who's got somebody who gives them their lunch money and just shuts up about it and goes about their day, they're going to keep abusing us. But as soon as we give them a black eye, which we've done a few times now, they're figuring out like, oh, they can't bully us just anytime they want. They can only bully us after a tragedy or an atrocity, really. I shouldn't say tragedy. But you know what I mean? Like they can only come after us at a time when it works for their messaging. And all we got to do is take that away from them, and they're never going to come after us again. They'll go after something else that doesn't have a right behind it. Okay, I'm done preaching again.
Telos said the tariffs will kill us, and pissing off our allies isn't a good, and threatening to take over places is more warfare. I don't believe the tariffs are going to. They're a negotiating tactic. And
you give everybody a tax, and then some of the countries are going to go, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're giving us a tax. Well, guess what? You don't get our goods, and the other companies will go, the other countries will go, thanks. You can have ours, because they got a whole bunch of overhead in that shit. I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
I don't either. And it's a leverage tool. And I don't know if they have, I forget if it's a president or premier of Greenland, was made a statement at a press conference. He said he doesn't want to be Dutch. Greenlanders don't want to be Dutch. They don't want to be Americans. But hey, we're open to talk. So
I really don't know anything. I thought those were just jokes. Is he tweeting? Is he mean tweeting about taking over countries? I know he said something about Canada being a state, and people got offended by that. But
yeah, he was
that and he's wanting to buy
trolling
Greenland.
Trudeau. He's talked about Greenland before, and Greenland said they're open for discussions.
Greenland's a country, right? Like they're their own country.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're owned by the Dutch or they're territory of the Dutch.
I didn't even think people lived on it.
Denmark, I believe. Yes.
It's not one of those countries that's just snow. Like people live there. It's a country with cities and things. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Wheeled and Well Armed is out there. Good evening. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
It has been.
Woods.
We should have a massive knife chat one of these days.
Let me click on it. Yeah, Wood said by the midterm, you mean in 2026, will there be any legislation from the red team, or will it be a repeat of 2016, 2018? I don't know. Just because there's conservatives that don't like Trump, and so his first term, he got a lot of pushback and wasn't able to do a lot of things he wanted to do. I'm not sure if the second go round is going to be different.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say that I've paid that much attention to everything he says to know. He doesn't broadcast what he's doing, right? He just kind of does stuff. If we're talking Trump.
Yeah.
So, other than I'm going to fix the economy, and this is the general way I'm going to do it with tariffs and whatever else he said. I I don't think he said much about policy. He didn't say shit about guns. No, what he said about guns, stupid national reciprocity, which I'm not a fan of. I don't think he said much besides national. I think I heard something about. It was definitely a clip from him, but I have no idea the time frame where he said something about the brace, the pistol brace thing. He was going to get rid of that, but I don't know if that was campaign trail or if that was real talk about policy or something. But like you said, there's other stuff on the table, right? He's going to deal with the abortion thing, and then whatever wars are going on, hopefully end those quickly.
I think from his first term, that was one of the greatest things he did was not get us into more wars. But Intel said it'll kill my job at Boeing as we import many parts.
As far as will it be a repeat, I don't think he wants it to be a repeat. I'm assuming he wants a legacy like every other president that isn't able to be president again, right? That's a 2-term president or whatever.
Yeah.
He's going to be worrying about legacy, but I also do think that with the bunch of people he got together that are dissatisfied with the complexity of government, I would like to think that he's going to be efforting towards that. I have no idea, since it's a new venture and I don't pay enough attention to this show. I have no idea what the actual, what's the word, like, what's the potential that he'll be able to do it or not. Like, if he'll really be able, if it's realistic. But so I think that it'll be different from the first one because, like you said, he got in there the first time and said, "I'm going to make things different," and then he was different enough that even the Republicans hated him, right? And his own staff was hating him and shit. So if he gets a staff that isn't fighting him, at least that's what it sounds like. That he's saying that his staff fought him the first time, and that's why there's so many people that came out and said this guy's no good because they didn't like him.
I think he has a better chance of doing more, just because he has the experience under his belt now.
Yeah, but he's probably got just as much, if not more, resistance from people that hate him. Hopefully, some of those people are going to retire.
Until
they're not as viewers. They had to be some amount scared that he was going to be a second president, second term, and now that he already is a second term, maybe they'll lay off a little bit, but I don't know.
Tello said president trolling is disgraceful for me, and thus I already consider him needing to be thrown out of office before he arrives. I expect more from a president. I
can hear that.
I understand. Kind of like in his first term, I thought if he needed to cut it back by 15%.
I can handle a president that doesn't get on social and talk shit. Like, that's fine. Like, you do have, at least you have a legacy of people that aren't dick shits. For the most part, we probably have had people that would have mean tweeted, right? If they had the ability to back in the day. That's part of the been on television and understands marketing, and he's trying to play people, and there's probably some negotiating tactic to it, get people off guard by making them think you're a dipshit, by being a dipshit all the time. And then they're saying Greenland is the population of Yankee Stadium. 2 Fenway Park, 60,000 people. So I thought there was like a country that only few people lived on for like experiment for like research and stuff. Not Antarctica, but I thought there was one of those. I thought Greenland was like that. I'm obviously wrong. I don't really pay attention to Nordic states.
Yeah, I didn't know what's going on with Greenland, other than
Greenland is more of a strategic importance than anything else due to its physical location. Well, I'm sure there's some natural resources involved there too, but it's strategically close to it. It would be a good place to have control of strategically, globally speaking.
Like Cuba. It's like a Cuba for us.
Yes.
Right? I got you. Okay.
A newer card.
One of those places that was under snow for like most of our lives growing up, and now the environment changed, global warming happened, the sun got closer.
But yes, I'm I'm sure there's probably natural resources there that could be utilized too, if we could get
Well,
them.
that's what Trump had made a statement about Greenland and national security, but I didn't know exactly what he meant. Tella said, well, if he keeps trolling, he'll get us into more wars. I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
No, only because we're too big. Nobody has any gumption to go after us, and if they did, they wouldn't need his mean trolling to get us going. Like we're bombing people constantly.
And what are executive orders he could repeal that the blue team did, and ammo bans, AK bans from foreign countries?
All of them, technically, right? Anything that went from a president before, they only
Any executive order he could overturn.
Just what's the gain in him from giving us back Chinese ammo? He doesn't like China, so I don't see him doing that.
My mouse stopped moving here. Tella said he cannot repeal laws. Well, we're not talking about laws. We're talking about executive orders.
Yeah, just the stuff that the other presidents have been fiddling around with since 13. When Obama kind of invented using them as a weapon. It was Obama, right? That went from like everybody else had done like, oh, we did like 13 presidential orders to make like these 13 national parks out of like people's houses or like where there's an endangered population of salamanders or something. And then Obama's like, here, how about 300 of them?
And Tella said, in the end, nobody has to agree with me. I just have standards. I have no problem with somebody disagreeing with me. The discourse is important. Whether we agree or not agree, I don't require everybody to think the same way I do. By talking about things, it helps me refine my positions and hopefully helps other people too. So if we can disagree and not hate each other.
I looked it up. I got that way wrong. So Harding or Roosevelt was the one that did 3,000 of them. Obama did 276, which is less than Clinton. He did 291. No, Bush did 291. Clinton did 364. That was kind of a lot. Biden did 143 only. Trump did 220. So they all do around 200-ish, it looks like. Except for Roosevelt did 3,721. But anyway, I think they can undo each other's shit. That's like somebody sticking a refrigerator or a post-it note on the refrigerator of the presidency, right? Like, hey, we're going to do this from now on, and they stick a post-it note up there. Another president can pull that post-it note down. It's like a mandate for their employees, the executive branch. At least that's how I understand them.
Yes, Woods, you can stay. I have no problem.
So Greenland is just porn. I did not know about that aspect of it, but that is enlightening. Makes a lot of sense. I do see a lot of snow porn, so it makes sense.
Pretty much the only thing I knew about Greenland is Eric the Red went there. So
I think that movie Strategic Air Command is they crash in Greenland or they crash in Canada. I think they crash in Greenland. And we definitely have some sort of a base there. I remember seeing a thing about we had some base that we left there, and then somebody went back to it like 20 years later or something. And because it's in Greenland, it's just been under snow, so it's kind of like preserved in a lot of ways. No, we had an AK ban from 1986 that banned SKSs, and then we had another one that banned 7.62 by 39 ammo. So we've had a couple of, actually, we've had a bunch of AK bans over the years.
I know there was something else I was meaning to bring up, and of course I know I had thought go write this down on my whiteboard that sits right here to remind me of things, and I forgot to come out here and write it on my whiteboard.
Something out on the knives you're buying?
No, I did order some stuff from K-Bar, which I ordered it on the 30th of December and still hasn't shipped.
I just got another K-bar the other day. TDI Night Stalker or something it's called.
And I'm not sure where I put my K-Bar. It's back there somewhere.
Yeah, you reminded me that I do want to get one of them Space Force K-bars.
I had the folder, which I gave away for one of the giveaways, which I didn't like the folder. It was kind of cheap, which I hate to say that because I gave it away. I don't want to say that I giving people cheap shit, but I didn't really care for it. So I figured I'd give it away. It had the blue scales, but I didn't like the feel of it. It was kind of a ray skin feel pattern, but plastic. So, because I think there's like three knives and a pry tool in the space bar set. I kind of want the pry tool. The neck knife, I don't like the look of it. It's kind of got the really hard curve in it.
There should be a shovel too, because they're going to be shoveling stuff on the moon, I would imagine.
But I know that, but definitely, I want to thank Barbecue once again for the space bar.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat. And I don't normally go for such things, but I looked at it, it's like, yeah, I could see myself liking that.
And it feels solid, feels like a K-bar. I had a K-bar for a short period when I was in grade school. I bought it from another kid. Then my mom made me sell it back to him because she didn't want me to have it. Back when you could have a knife at school and not be arrested.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
German chocolate cake, yay or nay?
I'm not a fan, personally. No.
Do you know it doesn't come from Germany? It's just the guy who invented it was named German.
Named after.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's only from
was the guy named German, or did he use German chocolate? It was something like that.
No, he was named. His last name was German.
Well, it was sponsored by a chocolate company, I believe, and the name of the chocolate company was German Chocolate, so it was a German chocolate cake.
That's what I thought. It was something like that, though.
I just read something on it a few months ago. I didn't know the story.
Yeah, I just assumed it was from what do you call it? I just figured it was some German deal. But again, where would Germany get that?
It was created like in the 50s.
Yeah.
So it's not that old either.
Well, it's older than me.
I watch a YouTube channel from a gal that lives in Cincinnati but grew up in Germany, and she did a video on it. She said German chocolate cake is unknown in Germany.
people in Germany are probably like, every time an American comes here and they order chocolate cake, they look so disappointed. Like, I don't know what's wrong with our German cakes.
Of course, I hate to think people come over here and buy American cheese and think that's what we like. Because if that's the best we can do for cheese, then come on.
Have we done anything else for cheese? Cheddar? Is that us? No.
Cheddar comes from England.
Yeah, I think all the cheeses come from back in the olden days. I don't think we've done shit for cheese.
Well, there's Piedmont strain of cheddar.
And put it in a can.
Well,
What
that
there is
counts in
Cougar
Wisconsin
Gold
cheddar.
cheese comes in a can. It's very popular. I didn't care for it, but a lot of people love it. There's a cheddar. There's a couple different types of cheese. It's made at Washington State University at their creamery. It's the Cow College, so they're the Ferdinand's is the name of the creamery. Their blackberry ice cream is probably my favorite ice cream that exists. Vulcan Rumble said there's no such thing as American cheese. Technically, it's a processed cheese product or cheese slices. Processed
You can buy
dairy slices.
You can buy American cheese from the deli that is solid cheese. Yes, you can.
And there's a white American also.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really don't like American cheese. It's just like, I mean, no.
I prefer cheddar. That's the main cheese that I use most of the time. I also like Gouda and mozzarella, and I know there's one other that does.
The main problem with cheddar is it's not always conducive to melting. It tends to get greasy when it melts. So.
Right. If you got something like a nacho where it can soak into, but if you don't, then it's just all over the place.
I do keep American cheese just for grilled cheese sandwiches for my daughter because she doesn't care for the cheddar.
Ooh, Velveeta. That's what you go for. For
Ugh.
grilled cheese, it's good.
It does melt well. I don't know. I used to love Velveeta, but I don't like it as much now.
Ooh, Justin mentions government. I remember government cheese. That's pretty good.
Government cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like that at school, right?
I
school.
wasn't in school, but I knew people who got it as part of government programs and stuff like that.
It did make a really good grilled cheese.
Yes, it did.
That was part of the when the government subsidized dairy farmers, they had to do something with the milk, so they made cheese, and they buried it in caves, and they gave it out to poor people, just to keep the milk off the market, so they could keep the prices up.
And you're cool with government doing this, or you're be okay if government?
I'm just saying that's what they did. That's why there's government cheese. Well, I don't know if they still do it. But that's where the government cheese came from.
Well, I mean, it's why we got corn syrup in our food and all kinds of stupid shit, though. So I'm saying, like, the government's constantly sticking their finger on the scale for that kind of shit.
Atello said he likes pepper jack.
Yeah, pepper jack's good. Mozzarella's good too, as far as that goes.
And what said Cougar Gold is the taste of the pack 2.
Kind of depends on if you're doing like a bunch of cheese on a board or whatever, and you got crackers and that kind of thing, and the cheese is just going to be eaten as is. But for me, at least, in my life, most of the time I'm eating cheese. If I buy cheese, it's being melted. So different. In my opinion.
Yeah. I have grated cheddar cheese in my refrigerator now, and primarily I put that on top of like baked potatoes and stuff. Like, it's delicious.
I like the I don't know if you ever get Mexican cheeses. There's the crumbly kind. The crumbly kind is, I've been hankering that lately. So I get that. You just cut like the bag and then crumble some out, and it gets on top of stuff, and it melts good. But it melts differently than a cheddar, right?
Are you
but it's,
talking the queso blanco,
I wish I paid
white
attention. I
white
honestly
cheese?
just, it's white and it's crumbly. There's another one that's more like mozzarella, and then there's a third. And I always buy the one that's the cheapest. It's always on sale for whatever reason. I'm super cheap, so I buy that one. And then it's always the crumbly one. But some of them are a little wetter than the other, so I really don't know. I don't pay attention to the label, but it's somewhere between well, it's more like a feta, I guess, more like a blue cheese, like in that kind of hard crumbly cheese, and super salty. So it really is good in like a grilled cheese or something.
On
I think
a
we all ate government cheese at school lunches, though, is what I'm saying. I think we all ate government cheese if we ate anything at school. And I ate at school most of the time. Like I brought a lunch occasionally, but most of the time I was eating this hot lunch at school or whatever it was.
when Washington lost their bowl game, when University of Washington, the part of the contract was the Pac-12 got $100 million. So that $100 million got divided between the two remaining teams in the Pac-12. Oregon State and Washington State each got $50 million because University of Washington played in that bowl game. So thank you,
Wow.
UW.
Sports is a ripoff.
Pretty much, it's a diversion.
What's a
Bread and
ripoff? I mean,
circuses.
I wouldn't hardly care if just a bunch of rich people did rich shit, but they're always constantly getting tax deductions and having their stadiums built for them. Like that part pisses me off.
Justin wants the government cheese brought back. He also wants the white beer cases that just say beer. Gary will know what I mean.
That beer was awful. It was made by Falstaff, if that tells you anything.
What does that mean?
Well, it was generic beer, and of course, the government sourced out one company to provide that beer, and it was Falstaff Brewing Company.
Oh, that's the name. I thought it was you're describing something.
No,
There was back in the 80s, there was a bunch of generic food products, and it would just be a white box with the name of what it was. So the cases of beer, it was a white case that just said beer on it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was awesome back then. Were all generics coming from the same place? I thought that was just like the way to do generic, and everybody got their own regional generic. But nowadays,
offhand, I don't know.
Kroger or Safeway, like it'll have the name brand of the store. That's their generic. But back in the day, like you're saying, they just all said bread or like milk.
They contracted with certain companies to actually produce this stuff in the background, and they agreed to not include their branding on there. So it was actually produced by companies you knew. You just, unless you knew in the back, the story in the background, you didn't know where it came from. Much like a lot of the store brand products are now, for example. You go to buy stuff at Dollar General, for example, and it's got their branding on it. Well, I guarantee you, Dollar General doesn't have a food plant where they produce food. They buy it from other companies and throw their labels on there.
That's true. The only problem is the reason I don't like a lot of the store brands is they're not made the same. Even though they're made by the same company, it's a different product.
You're getting seconds. Yes, you are.
Yeah. It's the sweeping from the floor.
Together. They'll put the recipes together that are different. I mean, just because they make them doesn't mean they'll sometimes say you can't make it like ours. You can make them for other companies, but you can't use our recipe.
I think part of it too is just in order to meet that price point, you have to
I got you. Like, go ahead somewhere. Don't bother fluffing the flour, or don't buy fancy flour. Buy that secondhand flour.
Even the branded stuff, I've heard stuff like if you buy a can of Campbell soup, for example, that comes from like Dollar General or something, it's not exactly the same product as you would get at a normal retailer.
Well, for sure. And they'll probably take the stuff that doesn't meet some standard, or like their labels were goofy. Probably like food standard, it's probably the same. But like, yeah, like, and then there'll be smaller portions. I've noticed that. You'll get like a 4 ounce one at the Family Dollar, and you go to the regular store, and it's like a 6 ounce, 3 6 ounce bars instead of 3 4 ounce bars.
And my advice to people is buy it and try it. If it's satisfactory to you, then great. If it's not, then lesson learned. Don't do it again. But I buy some things at Dollar General just because it's handy to shop there. But you gotta you gotta be a smart consumer.
I think Dollar General and then Dollar Tree.
So we have both. And they're like two
I'm
blocks
saying
apart from each
I'll
other.
put Dollar General on top of it. Well, they're competing with each other like that. But I'll put
Oh,
Dollar General on top of Dollar Tree usually.
We're getting there's what's called a 100 yen store. So it's a dollar store, but it's a Japanese dollar store, and we're getting one here. My wife's excited.
That sounds cool. Is it all Japanese items?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
I,
cool.
I would think I have never been to one, but when she goes up to the Asian market in Seattle, there's one up there, so she would go and then buy toys and stuff like that for our kid. So she's excited that there's supposed to be one coming here.
I
You
will
don't
say that Dollar Tree does carry some items that you won't find in Dollar General. So
100%. Like
they're
you
usually
get,
a little bit bigger store. But yeah.
yeah, no, you're right. There are large ones though. Have you ever seen the big ones with both of them? They both have like a
I
super.
have seen the Dollar General markets. Yeah, they're considerably bigger than a standard Dollar General. Yeah.
And then 99 cents only store, my dollar store chain went out of business, or went bankrupt, and then Dollar Tree bought them. So now all of our 99 cent stores, which were massive with grocery stores in them and stuff, are all Dollar Trees. So now there's these massive Dollar Trees that have the same exact stuff as every other Dollar Tree, but it's the size of like a Kmart. So it's like
Wow.
being in like a dollar store, being in a Dollar Tree, instead of having like one row of this green color cookie, they've got 17 rows of this green color cookie. But it's the same amount of things, just like dozens and dozens more of each thing, so that they can fill up this store. It's funny.
Yeah, what's this? The Wajimaya is the big Asian store. They have two locations, one in Linwood, I think it was.
How are you supposed
And
to
then
say
one in
that?
Seattle. Wajimaya. We used to go to the Linwood one, and now just go to the Seattle one.
It's one of those if you know things. I
Yeah,
suppose
wish
if
we
you
had a Mexican dollar store. That'd be awesome. All kinds of cool stuff from Mexico.
we
Or
have in some of the towns around here, I mean, there's a college town not far from here that has a pretty good sized Hispanic population, and they have full Hispanic grocery stores, good sized ones where you can go in
yeah,
and
but they're normal priced or whatever. I'm talking like just a
right.
dollar store, like get dollar versions or anything. But yeah, if you haven't gone to like the what we call like the Hispanic market or whatever, where everything's
Hmm.
written in Spanish, they're the best. There's about three of them that I stop at between here and East Coast on, is that 10? Yeah, on 10. No, not 10. 40, I guess. Um, that I'd much rather stop at than any Walmart or whatever. Although they're probably just as big a chain as Walmart. Honestly, they're just you know south of the border. They have ninja swords at that one. That would be cool. A dollar store with ninja swords.
Oh no, it's not a dollar store. It's a Asian
Oh,
market.
oh, I thought it was a dollar store.
No, no, the 100 yen store is the dollar store.
Oh, you're talking about two
Is
different
that
stores.
Yeah, 100 yen is roughly a dollar. I don't know what the current price is, but it's usually about a dollar.
Well, it makes sense because you can get a bunch of stuff that you just drag it over here in containers and then distribute it to your stores. You could get it over here really cheap. It would just take forever, but who cares? Because you have stores to just put it in.
Oh, well, G-Webs, anything you got coming up that you want to let everybody know about?
Oh, getting ready for the bracket? No, just still
No,
have bracket.
I got a cease and desist from the government about the bracket. There's some controversy if there's enough U.S. parts in my bracket, which I'm arguing that the law does not cover my bracket. So we're trying to hash that out. So we
I heard
can't do
there's going to be
brackets.
massive tariffs if you keep getting imported brackets like this.
Well, mine's grandfathered in, so because it's old enough. It's from the 50s. But anything coming up you want to let everybody know about?
No. I'll try to do some things and then I don't get to do them, so I don't even like talking about them.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. How about you, Gary?
I've got. I'm gonna have my members only chat. So for my channel members, we will have our chat at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. Foul Territory will be on hiatus for 2 weeks in preparation for SHOT Show. So we will be back on the 31st of January for the next episode of Foul Territory because naturally I'm getting ready to go to Las Vegas next weekend. So I have plenty of stuff to do, though. I've got reviews I need to get done between now and then. And so, plenty of content coming out. Just live content's going to be suspended for a couple weeks. So, that's what I got.
Is it true you have to wear a members only jacket to that chat?
Gosh, I hope not because I don't have one.
I used to have one.
Yeah, they're on Career Connections right now. You should have one.
See, I didn't grow up during that time. That's a little bit after my time. That was more of an 80s thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I graduated in the 70s. So,
I think it was Miami Vice did that,
yeah.
right? Was it Miami Vice? Didn't that guy wear a members only jacket? Or was it a movie? It might have been one of the movies.
Offhand, I do not know. Oh, well, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that was out there in the chat. Oh, and I want to say thank you. We hit 2,300 subscribers.
Hey,
So
good
thank you.
deal.
I really do appreciate it. I think maybe when we do hit 25, we'll do another giveaway as a big thank you. So someday, hopefully, we'll do another giveaway. We here at the DM Foss channel would like to thank everybody, but the we here is just me. I don't have a staff. It's a one-man show with the help and support of such people as Gizzard Gary and G-Webs. So I want to thank you guys too.
Yeah, I just looked up where the members only jacket got its start, and there's a guy that invented it, and then he gave it to a bunch of celebrities, and then he says he used his ad budget to create public service announcements about the crack epidemic and voting, and then the ads featured sports figures and country singers wearing his jacket.
Ah,
That's where it came from.
crafty.
Interesting.
So next chat will be next Saturday. Don't think there's anything else that I need to bring up.
And I'm probably going to miss next week. I'm sorry.
Are you going to fly down to
No.
SHOT Show? Go to SHOT Show?
Am I or is it Foss?
Foss.
Me? No.
I wish.
I still would like to go so I could experience it at least once, but I can afford to do like one thing a year, and right now Thunder on the Prairie's been the one thing I've been doing. And Thunder on the Prairie alone will end up probably costing $700-800 in total. Probably end up spending a little bit more than that. So that's my budget for the year. Maybe someday I'll make it down to SHOT Show. I don't know.
Hope so.
Again, thank you to everybody. And if you watch this replay, leave a comment. Anything we talked about, agree with, disagree with. What's your favorite generic product? And other than that, I hope everybody has a good rest of the night and go do something good.
Bye, guys.